I'm gonna see it through. You want spotless, I'll always lose. Don't want love, lover, I want the truth.
We're going to speed up the first bit of this training session just because it is all about the prerequisites of colt starting that we have been working on for the past several sessions. And I'm trying not to be super duper repetitive, so I'm kind of just going to blow through them a little bit and show you how he's doing with them. First, we have desensitizing to the lunge whip. While Cherokee still moves from time to time, he has already made tremendous progress and grown his confidence with the lunge whip. Then we have lunging in both directions. He is actually able to maintain a circle around me. I'm not really focusing on speed right now. That's for a later date, but he is doing a lot better at sending off, maintaining that circle around me, as well as coming in when I ask him to do so. There's backing up, and Cherokee is actually doing a lot better with just responding when I lean towards him. I don't have to increase the pressure any, so I'm super proud of him for that. Cherokee really struggled with lateral flexion today. He wasn't able to soften up very well. He was struggling to give to the pressure, and so this is definitely something that we're going to have to dedicate a lot more time to because he just wasn't really feeling it today. Despite his struggle with the lateral flexion, he actually did really good with the vertical flexion today. He is doing an absolutely phenomenal job with yielding the hindquarters. He is disengaging them rather well, so I'm very proud of him for that. As for yielding the forequarters, we were actually starting to make great progress as he's starting to cross over those front legs. Picking up all 4 feet has also proven to be uneventful. Now that we have finished the first part of the session where we review everything we've been working on, now we're going to introduce the saddle. So when I'm putting the first saddle on a horse, I typically like to have something that is super lightweight, that's flexible, that's comfortable, and so my go-to item for this is the Buck U. This is like honestly one of my main riding saddles. I do all kinds of stuff in this, and my biggest thing that I like about it, especially for colt starting, is that it's kind of like a glorified bareback pad. It has different pads and inserts to kind of help with spinal clearance and a bunch of other things. I have an entire review video on it on my YouTube, so I definitely recommend you go and find that and check it out. But anyway, it's super lightweight, so I can throw it on and off of his back with no problem. It's not really much of an arm workout, and on top of that, it's not like I'm just shoving some like heavy brick on his back. It's not that heavy, so it's very lightweight, and it tends to make the saddle breaking process a lot smoother when I'm not just throwing something super heavy on the back right away. Rather, it's something small, getting him used to the cinch, and just very slowly breaking down the process of saddling. The first thing that I'm doing right here is I am giving Cherokee lots of reinforcers for just being around the saddle. So far, he seems pretty unfazed by it, but I've got some reinforcers on the saddle itself. He doesn't really want to like eat off the saddle for some reason, so I'm going to just kind of continue to feed from my hand. Right here, I bring my hand all the way down so that he kind of has to sniff the saddle. Overall, he doesn't really seem to be too bothered by the saddle, so that's something that I'm super happy about. But this is basically just starting to create positive associations with the saddle, right? He's starting to say, oh, this super weird thing gets me treats, it gets me reinforcers when I look at it, when I target it, and all of that fun stuff. So positive associations are always the biggest thing to keep in mind. We have to remember that it is so unnatural for horses to be ridden. Horses were never designed to be ridden. They are not like mechanically designed to carry a rider, but somewhere in our history, somebody looked at a horse and decided, hey, I want to learn to ride that thing. And so then they did. But that still doesn't mean that it is natural for horses to carry a rider. Yes, they have evolved and things have changed and people ride horses, obviously, but that does not make it any more natural. We are literally strapping a dead animal to the horse, then we are sitting on top of their back as if we were a predator about to attack them, and then asking them to carry us around. Obviously, riding horses is a very common practice, but the reason I try to put it this way is to remind you guys that when you are starting colts, that this is not natural, this is scary, this is frightening. This like goes completely against everything that they have been taught in the wild. So when you are starting colts, when you are working with horses, have some grace and remember that we are asking them to do some pretty crazy shit. Moving on, I am making a lot of noise with the saddle. I'm kind of putting it up and down in the ground, and then I eventually go and I put it on his back. You can see that Cherokee's head is high. He's kind of leaning back. He's got that nervous stance. So I remove that saddle and I give him that reinforcer. These are all signs that he is giving me that he is nervous. He is not too sure about what's going on, and he's not a huge fan of it. You also might notice that that hind leg is cocked. Some might mistake this as him relaxing, but it's not, because when you look at the rest of his body, again, his head held high, he is quite stiff, his ears are back. These are all signs that he is nervous, he's afraid. So that cocked hind leg is more of just him kind of like preparing to bolt if he needs to. Obviously he seems okay, like he's definitely nervous and he's definitely unsure about it, but he doesn't seem like he's going to bolt or freak out at this moment. He's at least standing as I throw it on his back and take it off and give him reinforcers. What I essentially have to do here is fight Cherokee's instincts, right? So Cherokee's instincts tell him that, oh my god, this person is throwing this shit on me, this person is trying to sit on me, this person is trying to do all of these things, I need to run, I need to fight, I need to to escape, right? Because that is what is bred into him, right? When mountain lions pounce, they pounce on their back, much as the position that we sit on them, we're trying to strap shit on him. So in his mind, his instincts are telling him he needs to run and get out of here. So I have to challenge his instincts and show him that this is okay, that I'm not here to hurt him, that he is going to be all right and his life is not threatened. And I'm doing this through the use of reinforcers. He knows that the reinforcers are good, they're pleasurable, and so by connecting those with the saddle breaking process, he is starting to learn and realize that this isn't a scary thing. This isn't going to hurt him. It's not the end of his life. So it is essentially kind of like a battle of instincts of just trying to show him that he is not my prey and I am not his predator. For the next several minutes, I'm just going to take the saddle off and throw it on, and take it on and throw it off, and reinforce throughout the entire process, because I want to continue showing him that this saddle is not here to hurt him, it is not here to harm him, and that everything is going to be just fine. One common practice in colt starting is that people will just throw the saddle on the horse, cinch him up, and let him bronc it out, and I try not to do this, okay? Now, reality of it is, some horses are just going to buck, okay? It is a natural response to a situation. It doesn't matter how much you can do to prevent it, sometimes a horse is just going to buck. Obviously, we don't want to see that happen, and that's where, again, why I try not to cinch it up immediately, because the horse is already afraid of the saddle, he's already unsure about it. I don't want to strap it to his back to a point where he can't get it off, right? I'd rather him feel comfortable and confident enough with the saddle that by the time I do cinch it up, he doesn't really have a lot of fear towards it. As you can see, Cherokee was standing very well as I threw it on and off of him, and he's starting to show me that he's pretty confident with the saddle, so I did go to cinch it up, and then I'm going to give him a reinforcer. I took off that lead rope, and now for the moment of truth, I am going to try and send him off and lunge him in a circle around me. Imagine that first cinching like putting on a new pair of shoes, okay? The shoes aren't broken in yet. They might be stiff. They might feel weird. And that is exactly what it's like when you're putting a cinch on the horse for the first time. It feels weird. It's different. It might catch him off guard. And sometimes a horse will buck, which you can see that Cherokee does give me a few bucks right here. Now, there is a huge difference between a horse who is bucking, rearing, kicking, and a horse who is just letting off a few bucks, which Cherokee does. And then he just kind of starts doing his thing. Horses buck as a way to communicate. Cherokee was telling me that he didn't like it, he was unsure of what was going on, it felt weird, but now after that lap of bucking, he has returned to giving me a nice calm trot. If Cherokee had continued to buck, if he had started to rear or kick or any other aggressive behaviors with that, that is a sign that I pushed him over the threshold. You're going to have those people out there who tell you that you should never have a horse buck when you're starting them under saddle, and then you're going to have those people who oftentimes bronc out their horses and say that it's okay. Ultimately, the goal is to have a horse that does not buck, okay? You don't want your horse to buck when you're starting them under saddle, but the reality of it is sometimes they are going to buck. You just have to learn the different types of bucks, right? Was it like what Cherokee did as his little way of being like, oh my God, this is weird, I don't understand? Or is it going to be one of those bucks where, he is rearing and bucking and freaking the fuck out because he has been pushed too far? So you really have to learn to distinguish the different types of bucks for one. And again, sometimes it just happens. It is a way that horses communicate. As you just saw, I sat on the mounting block for a little bit and just let Cherokee investigate the saddle on his own. If he wanted to trot or canter or stop, he could. I feel like sometimes this is super beneficial because I don't want to ask him all kinds of random stuff and flood him with information when he's already trying to get used to this new scary item. And as you could see, he's done pretty damn well with it. He hasn't really had any major freakouts. He seems pretty content, unsure of it for sure. He's definitely, he's got his head up. He's overly focused and he doesn't quite know what to think of it, but it has not pushed him to the point of shutting down or freaking out or blowing up. So overall, he's doing pretty damn good compared to some colts that I've worked with in the past. Because we did a lot in this session, I'm just going to continue to sit on the mounting block and give him some reinforcers, just as a way to continue to show him that yes, I introduced him to some pretty scary things today, but he did a very good job and that I am still not here to hurt him. I'm still just the friendly, wonderful person that he has gotten to know over the past few weeks. Before we close off this video, don't forget to go and check out our books. I've got 3 books on the shelf and they are all on a variety of topics relating to horses. We also have a podcast out there. It is about the life lessons horses have to teach us. And we also have a merch store, so you can go and get some cool fancy merch, sport it, send us a picture of you wearing it, and we'll give you a discount on your next purchase. With that being said, I'd like to give y'all a friendly reminder that all of the pictures and videos, all of the content you see at Wild Child is funded by myself. I like to do this at absolutely no cost to you guys because the world is so expensive right now
now, and I really just want to help make a better world for the horses we all love so much. However, if you would like to help financially support the sanctuary horses, the materials we need to make and edit these videos, I have a list of different ways that you can donate. I'm not a registered nonprofit. I'm just an LLC trying to make a living, support the animals, and help horses and humans overcome their problems while advocating for kinder, more humane horsemanship methods. With that being said, if you have not already, please hit the red subscribe button. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, our podcast, and all of the many other things that we have available. Thank you all for watching. Stay strong, stay true, stay wild, and we'll see y'all next time.